this is your boy Abbas. We are back again. Welcome back to the channel. We are here to check out another amazing video, another interesting video. And of course, if you know you're ready, do well to hit your like button, join the family, join AB React by always clicking on your subscribe button and then on your notification bell so you don't miss out whenever I upload a video. If you have recommendation, suggestion, guys, always do well to leave them right there in the comment section. All right, episode, I don't want to waste your time, but let's dive right in.
What in you caused you to want to get involved?
I mean, I'm not a confrontational person. I don't really extend myself. I think this type of thing is very uncomfortable. All this attention and limelight is very uncomfortable. And I would prefer without it. I didn't want any type of attention or praise, and I still don't. The guilt I would have felt if someone did get hurt, if he did do what he was threatening to do, would never be able to live with myself. And I'll take 1 million court appearances and people calling me names and people hating me just to keep one of those people from getting hurt or killed.
Judge Jeanine is with us. Judge, thank you for taking the time. Wonderful interview. Judge, you've been around the criminal justice system your entire life, being a judge and a district attorney. What struck you most powerfully about this case and also meeting Daniel Penny personally, Judge?
Well, first of all, it's good to be able to chat with you, Charlie. A couple of thoughts. Number one, what struck me about this case was the injustice of it. You've got to understand that I have worn the same and stepped in the same shoes as Alvin Bragg. I've been a district attorney who presents cases to the grand jury and prosecutes them. I've been in the same shoes as the judge, a county judge who's trying felony cases. And, the New York law is my wheelhouse. I was stunned with the choice and the decision to prosecute this case when the police originally allowed Danny Penny to leave. It was clear that this was justified. But once Al Sharpton got in and you have a progressive leftist Soros-funded DA, well, then all of a sudden the criminal justice system was going to spin on a racial focus, and you have a white man who they believed was responsible for the death of a black man. So it started there, and it was very disappointing. The DA's office in Manhattan, I thought, was shameful in the way they pursued this case. Their witnesses were shameful, their wheeling and dealing, and their decision toward the end to dismiss the man, too, after there was a hung jury in the hopes of getting them to compromise on crim neg homicide. That was pretty awful. But for me, meeting Danny Penny, I had met him the week before. I had gone to dinner with him and his lawyers, and who I know very well. His lawyers worked in my office when I was the DA. And he was one of the most decent people I've ever met. I mean, you saw this stoic guy, Charlie, for 5 minutes, not a muscle in his face moved for 5 weeks. Whatever the prosecutor threw at him, whatever the medical examiner said that was clearly a lie, clearly inconsistent with what they had said at the grand jury, he didn't flex a muscle. He was stoic in the midst of total chaos around him. And more than anything, Danny Penny, in my exclusive first interview, was a gentleman. He was a man who doesn't want the limelight. He's not comfortable even talking about this. And by the way, guys, he was classically trained. He's a classic musician. So he was in the string symphony for several years. And he went in the Marines, and he's not a macho man. He's not, as he said, a jarhead. He is someone who, didn't want to get involved. He said, but I could never forgive myself if I didn't get involved. Seeing those school kids, seeing the woman with the child. And he said, even I was afraid. So it turns out that Danny Penny was right. He was justified in using force. But remember, it was not the choke that killed Jordan Neely. Jordan Neely had a combination of a psychotic break. He was a schizophrenic. He was on K2. He was overdosing on the K2. He had sickle cell disease. in addition to that, the stress of the whole event caused his heart to stop. So the medical examiner gets up, and the chief medical examiner gets up and says, at the autopsy, he says, I don't care. I'm not waiting for the toxicology, the histology, the anthropology. As far as I'm concerned, the truth is that this is a guy who choked Jordan Neely. And so they just said cause of death is a homicide. That wasn't true. If they waited for the toxicology, they would have seen the K2. And if they waited for that, they would also have seen the fact that he was someone who was sickling the whole time. So, I mean, God bless Danny Penny. In the end, he is my hero. And, you know, we've been talking about what masculinity is. It's Danny Penny. He's a hero. He is a guy who has Marine training, but he has the courage of a lion as well.
So, Judge, so many takeaways here, and you are uniquely qualified to speak about this. Again, I want people to check out foxnation.com. Doing a great job with that interview, Judge. You crushed it. It was terrific. Is that, although that Daniel Penny was acquitted, do you think that there's still a fear for Good Samaritan men to stand up against this sort of behavior? Because look at still what he had to go through. Wasn't the process the punishment by Alvin Bragg? Because this young man, this hero, still has a year lost. I mean, reputational harm, you name it. Speak about how the next time somebody like this, an incident like this in the subway, where people's lives are at risk, the alpha man still might be a little bit less likely to act despite the acquittal.
Well, I think that's true. I think that there was something about Danny Penny that was so unusual that, you know, he just said he couldn't have lived with himself if he didn't do something. He said a million court appearances and all the name calling and everything else. You know, he would in his mind go back to the people on the train, many of whom stayed after the doors were opened, to say, thank you so much. Thank you for saving my life. But will other men stand up? Will other women stand up? I don't know. I really can't say. I think this case is kind of a double-edged sword. On the one hand, you know, if you're inclined not to, you say, I'm not going to get indicted. And if you're inclined to do it, you say, look, he ultimately was acquitted of all of it. But it's not over for Danny, Charlie. Danny is facing a civil lawsuit by Jordan Neely's father. Jordan Neely is suing him for wrongful death, where the preponderance of the evidence is the burden of proof, which is far lower than beyond a reasonable doubt. And the sad part about all this is that Danny Penny knew when he went to the police voluntarily within minutes of this, he knew he was on K2. And I said to him, you were prescient. How did you know that? He said, I've seen a lot of it. And it makes you more aggressive, which explains why Jordan Neely was so incredibly strong at the time, and why Jordan Neely, you know, was able to keep fighting for so many minutes. I mean, they were wrestling on the ground, and you know, they needed another person, two people to hold them down. A black person and a Hispanic person came in to try to hold Jordan Neely down as Danny Penny held him. So this whole idea of a race case is BS, okay? The jury had blacks, Hispanics, and Asians. On that subway car were blacks, Hispanics, and white people that they were trying to protect, and the people who helped them hold down Jordan Neely were black and Hispanic. So this was anything but a race case. But the prosecutor's office kept referring to Danny Penny as the white guy. Shameful, Charlie, shameful.
I totally agree. One minute remaining here, Judge.
Dry eyes. I was taping this, and I'm looking at all men
That's
while
right.
I'm taping this thing. Salt of the earth. Danny Penny
Judge,
is a hero. He's more than that.
Judge, you've been a great friend for years. I'll never forget it. Love watching you on TV. People should check out foxnation.com. Judge Jeanine, thank you so much.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Okay, guys, that was another interesting one. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your own thoughts in the comment section. And if you really enjoyed that video, don't forget to smash the like button and also join the family by clicking on your subscribe button and then on your notification bell so you don't miss out whenever I upload a video. If you have recommendations, suggestions, guys, always do well to leave them right there in the comment section. Alright, every squad, I can't wait to see you in my next video. Until then, stay safe, stay blessed, and don't go away. Don't touch that dog, guys. Bye.